Welcome back to From the Bench, everybody. As always, it's Eric, and today we're back with part 3 of the PSA submission that I did with a bunch of the guys that are local to me. If you guys missed it, part 1 was the highlights from the other guys that I submitted with. They kind of gave me a bunch of their cards. They were dropping off the cards anyways. So I highlighted them, showed off a bunch of the cards that they submitted. Part 2 was the first half of mine. I had 47 cards in total. Now we're going to do the other half. So lots of stuff, mostly hockey in this. Are some lacrosse cards. Mentioned the last time, we didn't get to them, but there are some lacrosse cards. There's even a Connor Bedard card in here. Another one left to go. I had 3 that I graded. First 2 you would have seen in episode 2, or part 2, I guess, and then you'll see the third one now. So we'll turn the camera around and get right into it. There's the backdrop. We got Matthias Ekholm, the Future Watch non-auto, 2011-2012. We got Mr. Connor Bedard. We got Jeff Teat, rookie, but that is the all-pro insert from that set. So there he's actually got a true rookie card, which I got in here. But that is the kind of the insert, kind of like a Young Guns canvas, we'll just say. Just kind of that, not your true rookie, even though it has a rookie logo and everything else on it. That's actually out of 10. And then we got the Joe Sakic PSA 9. So we'll start off. We get Connor Zary, 2023-24. A lot of people really liked him for Calgary and came back at 10. I also could put my thing up the right way, but Connor Zary starting us off on the right foot with the 10. Doubling up with Connor Zary here. Second Connor Zary, same thing. Just a popular young player. Calgary doesn't have a ton of like superstar hype behind them, right? You got Kadri, Huberdeau's kind of lost his luster there. My guy Pelche's kind of even lost some of his luster because of injuries and everything else. You know, just not a ton of guys there. Kuzmenko, but once again, so Connor Zary kind of one of the bright spots for them. And this was also a bright spot because we got another 10 on that. Next up, I talked about it last video with Justin Sertif. Same kind of thought process here. Younger guy in Mackey. I've actually pulled a decent amount of them for whatever reason. But decided to grade him. I think before he's going to go for a long kind of playoff run. Same thing if he gets in the lineup for whatever reason because of injuries, blah, blah, blah. He plays really well. Becomes a fan favorite because he's throwing body, shooting, scoring, whatever it is. I wanted to have a card of him. It worked out well for me because it came back another 10. Bunch of 2023-24 Series 2 treated me much better. That being said, I also didn't grade everything. I was pretty picky on the stuff I sent. This is literally all the cards from Series 2, from an entire case of Hobby, entire case of Blasters, and an entire case of Tins. This is all the Young Guns I was able to pick and choose to send out for grading. So John Beecher, first goal in the Leafs series. John Beecher had it. I guess you guys would know by now. Did the Bruins pull it off or did the Leafs pull it off in Game 7? When you guys are watching this video, you guys would know. I'm recording this a little bit in advance because a lot of these cards are actually, not every one of these cards, but there's some cards in here that are already sold. So I wanted to kind of still include them in the reveal, but I have to obviously ship them out. So John Beecher came back a 9. So first 9 for part 3. We started off with a lot of 9s for part 1, but here we go, part 3. You know, fourth card in, we get a 9. It's not too bad. Next up, former Halifax Moosehead, boo, Raphael Lavoie. Hasn't really done a whole lot in the NHL. Did a little bit in the AHL, but just trying to carve out a spot. Probably also hard being, bottom 6 guy when you do come to the NHL because they're so stacked at the top end. I'd try to grade him. Once again, never know. Could have a long playoff run. Young guy gets a shot. Maybe scores a couple of goals. But this one came back a 9. So Raphael Lavoie, hopefully have a Halifax Moosehead fan that wants to pick that up. Next up, guy that played really well this year, Dmitry Voronkov. Columbus always just kind of has these guys that play well, then don't really get any hobby love or anything. But Dmitry Voronkov It's one of those guys. Had a little bit, but just nothing too crazy. And it came back at 10 though. So hey, even if he's not getting a ton of love, if you can get the 10 out of it, I'm pretty happy. This next one is sold. Guy that I'm kind of said, I've met him a couple times in different videos. Kind of happy that Fantilli and Cooley are an extended series, just because I feel like, this guy, like, 10s go for a decent amount, but like his base raw young gun, not that crazy of a price. And it's kind of just like frustrating for me because I'm like, well, he's a really good player. I was really hoping that maybe, I know Bedard's kind of up there, but I was kind of hoping that maybe we'd still have that little bit of hobby love, kind of like what football has, where you can have multiple quarterbacks that people will kind of buy for and have a good price. Leo Carlson just right now just doesn't have that, even though he was pretty decent on a bad Ducks team. This came back at 10. So it's getting sold. This will be getting packed up with a couple other cards that the person bought off me. So yeah. Next up, Will Gunshow Levis. Man, the guy is, look at this. Orange Laser. I said maybe we can get a chance at a 9, maybe a 10. Nope, I lied. Came back an 8. It does have some nasty print lines on the back of it. You can kind of see that one there. But I was like, well, if I can get a 9, once again, it's cheap enough to grade it. $16 American, say $30, $28, $30 Canadian by the time I ship it there, back, customs, everything else. So know what? If he pops off, it gets a little bit of hype. In a 9, it'll still have a little bit of value. In an 8, probably not. So see what happens with that one eventually. That's one I want to hold on to, I think, for a little bit. Next up, first Lacrosse card that we're getting to in the submission. Hadn't graded any of the base yet, but I had a couple Michael Sowers, was second overall pick back in 2021. Really good player, but I just decided to grade the base for this one first. Once again, you can see there, first edition. So same as that one, first edition, the same set. Teat was number 1, Sowers was number 2. It came back at 10. So I don't really have a price on that. I'm pretty sure it's a pop one. Nobody else, like, you find the odd one sells, but nothing crazy. So I don't really know. I just kind of threw up on eBay with the price. I'm not really sure on a value on that one. Not gonna lie to you guys. All the Lacrosse cards don't really have value on. Next up, the true rookie. So once again, you can kind of see back there, this is Jeff Teat. Jersey behind me is the Atlas. I'm actually not an Atlas fan. That is a Paul Rabel signed jersey. But Jeff Teat, really good player, plays for the New York Riptide in the NLL, so box lacrosse, indoor lacrosse, who they're actually moving to Ottawa next year. So he'll be the star of that. He's league leader in like points, top 5 every year since he kind of came into it. Just awesome player. This is the purple foil. They don't do a Topps Chrome for this. This is all Topps product. So this is kind of your top paper with like a foil on it. Out of 75 though, it came back at 10. So if anyone knows this set, these are notorious for being like super off center on the back. The foil itself gets print lines, this, that, the other thing. Corners, same thing, center in the front of these, not great. So to hit a 10 on that, pretty happy. The ones I sent off before were 9s and 8s. I got 2 Lyle Thompsons, 2 Jeff Teats, and a Zed Williams, and all of them came back. Nothing came back at 10. Getting into this one, we got the Michael Sowers color match. Water Dogs, purple on purple, 15 out of 75. It's got second overall pick, really good player. Everything else has a championship. Could have had a 6th championship too, but Water Dogs are actually the team. If you guys follow Barstool, PMT, this is their team. They actually own part of the Water Dogs. So this one also came back at 10. Super happy. Once again, These are so hard to gem. You don't ever find them. Color match, everything else. People love a color match. So purple out of 75 color match. Yeah. Next up, not really sure why. This has like a plastic on it. I'm kind of leaving it on there. There was 2 cards in our submission that had like this plastic on it. I have no idea why. Yeah, literally have no idea why. Sidney Crosby, Ultimate Signature, 2006, 2007. Picked this up a while back. Black card, black border, colored borders, everything else. I was like, no, I'm just going to get this in a slab. See if we can get, an 8, 9, 9. Hopefully it's a thicker card too, though. So like maybe it's an 8. I was wrong though. Came back a 7. That being said, the auto's nice and clean. I don't know. Again, horizontal is not my thing. I'm just not a big horizontal auto guy. Horizontal card in general. I kind of like my cards vertical. But right there. 1 second. I got to plug this phone in. Okay, we're back. I got the charger cord plugged in, so we'll see how this goes. I turned the brightness down. I went down to 5%. Didn't even notice it was at 15%. So see if I can get through the rest of this submission, and we'll kind of go from there. Next up, I picked this up as a PSA 8. So I cracked this. I thought I'd try to maybe clean up. I just, to this day, have no idea why it was an 8. Was kind of looking it over. Corners are pretty good. Edges are pretty good. Centering's not bad. Like, I really don't know why it was an 8. And I say that, and it's still an 8. So, still do not know why I came back an 8. I'm confused. I have no idea. It's for sale. I was kind of hoping they might have this was going to come back in before they get eliminated. It literally shows up like the day after they get eliminated. So it is what it is. Next up, sticking with the goalies, we got Clay Stevenson. Somebody at one of our local shows says this is the real deal. This is the guy going forward for the Washington Capitals. I have no idea if he is. I have no idea who this guy is. I looked up a couple of stats before. I don't even remember what they were. I think he was playing pretty good down the farm team for Washington. But I have no idea anything about this guy. But this guy said it at it. Picked up a clear cut, I think, from the boys at the Amherst, Nova Scotia show a couple months back. So I was like, you know what? It's right before we went and shipped this off. I was like, both of his cards that I had both looked pretty good. So I said, no, I'll ship them in. And it worked out because it came back at 10 on that one. So like I said, trust in the gut of some random Washington Capitals fan, which I never even met him. The boys were just telling me about it afterwards. So what does that tell you? So I, once again, did 2 of them, trusting in some random guy that I've never even met, that the boys met, and that was it. But it came out another 10. So see what happens with him. When I see how much hype he is. Maybe if he was starting, maybe they'd still be in the playoffs. Who knows? Next up, time this comes out, would have accepted an offer on this. Just going back and forth with a couple guys on eBay. But Mason Lohrei, young defenseman, playing time in the playoffs for the Bees. So I decided to grade him. This is the guy that follows Bedard around in high boxes. So if you hit a high box, you hit a Mason Lohrei, there's a good chance you're going to hit a Connor Bedard in that same high box. And this one also hit the same as the Bedard in the back with another 10. So grab that. Next up, we got another Mason Lohrei. Same thing, young guy, everything else. Like, he is a 2001, so he's 23 years old. So pretty young for a defenseman to be playing up in the NHL at 23 years old. Came back another 10. So the first part 1 or part 2, I guess, a lot of pretty even. This one, I guess if you add everything up, it's a little closer. If you start adding the 7s and the 8s and stuff. But next up, the third and final Connor Bedard for this submission. It's going to went 2 for 2. The boys went 3 for 3 on theirs. It's pretty self-explanatory. Let's get going to Slab Sharks. They're running a 98% payout on all common Bedard cards up until June 1st. So this is getting in before that June 1st deadline. Gotta be pretty excited to kind of sell it through there, get the biggest payout I can. Why wouldn't you ship with Slab Sharks? Even when you factor in shipping to them, everything else like that, you still profit more than if you had sold it yourself on eBay. So gonna ship that off. This one too, and this one also came back at 10. We went 6 for 6. Did get upcharged on all of them. They guess when you grade a card like 2,000 times in like a 2-month span, and you know that they're going for over $1,000 a piece every time. $1,300 Canadian is kind of what these kind of go around, between 12 and 14. We'll just say 13 to make it easy. It's pretty easy to upcharge on that. So, and some people say, well, that's why I hate PSA. It's they're upcharging me. That's dumb, blah, blah. An SGC 10 goes for like $900, $950. So even paying the extra, say $75, if it's $1,300, you're still profiting over $200 more than if I graded with SGC. So PSA has a premium. It is what it is, people. Most times, like a lot of stuff I graded, like that Vasilevsky should have been upcharged. Not gonna lie to you guys. Like, that's just the way it is. That's a $1,000 card plus all day long. Should I have been upcharged? Yes. Did I get upcharged? No. So it is what it is. Next up, I don't know why I graded so much of this guy, but I did. Connor Zary. I pulled a lot of them, I guess. That's probably why. Connor Zary, another 10. So I went 3 for 3. Connor Zary. Who would have thunk it? So be selling all those. Next up, Zach Benson. Talked about in the first part 1. Good young kid. He's 18 years old, I think. He's a 2005 kid, May 12th. So birthday coming up here to turn him 19 years old. Playing in the big leagues, everything else. Obviously, Buffalo Sabres didn't have the year they wanted, but I think there's a lot of upside for this guy for sure. Just once again, getting in the lineup that young. Came back another 10. So I went 2 for 2 on the Bensons. Pretty happy with that. Once again, that's kind of one of the guys you want to hit on. I hit 3 for 3 for Bedard, hit Carlson, Korchinski, Lohrei, Poitras, like Zary. Like, I've done very well. Series 1, I couldn't get a gem to save my life. This one I've hit, once again, you see that. That stacks mostly Series 2. Zach Benson. Canvas. PSA graded it a 9. Didn't have much luck with the canvas. Hit the Silovs Young Guns canvas in the first batch. In part 2. Came back a 9, so maybe they'd gift me a 10, but nope, got a 9 instead. Speaking of Silovs, decided to grade a second canvas Young Guns. I hit the same Young Guns canvas in like everything. Blasters, tins, hobby. I don't know what my luck was, but didn't hit any of the crazy guys. But did grade this. First one got a 9. This one got a 10. So pretty happy with that. This is actually also already sold. I actually sold that before they won the game for their Game 6 win to go to the second round where he got the shutout. I sold that probably like an hour or two before. It was one of those things. I had an offer, was pretty close to what I wanted. I think I sold it for $95 Canadian. It's a canvas. Canvas don't usually hold as much value. So I decided to let that go. And last but not least, thank you guys for watching. If you guys haven't yet, hit the like, hit the subscribe, follow me on Instagram, all that good stuff. eBay store down below, my card post links down below, everything. Try to be doing a bunch of stuff on here, whether it's card show stuff. Haven't ripped as much lately, just because Bedard prices for wax is crazy. Doesn't make any sense to me. So I've been kind of wondering what to open, going back and forth with all that stuff. I picked up some platinum a little while back. That was fun. But yeah, so lots of other stuff though, card show vlogs, doing some stuff like this. And like I said, if you guys haven't yet, check out Slab Sharks. There's a link down below for my form. I get 2% back if you guys use my form. So essentially, you're going to pay the fees anyways. You're going to get, depending on what it is, I'll put it right here. That's your payout depending on what you're sending off. You're going to pay those anyways. If you use my fees and while you're using them, I'll get 2% of that. So it just helps me out. You get the same payout at the end of the day. But once again, just help support the channel. If you're already thinking of submitting your cards with Slab Sharks, super easy. You literally just write down how many of every card. You don't have to put description of them, nothing. Pack them all up in a nice box, ship them off to Slab Sharks. And as long as it gets there by Tuesday, it goes out in their weekly auction that runs on Thursdays. Fast payouts, everything else. So check them out. Finishing off with another Lacrosse card. Kieran McCardle, Michael Sowers, teammate. They were playing really good this year in their little winter tournament that they do, the indoor sixes tournament. They call it the championship series, I think is what it was, which is funny because this is the 2020 championship series. This is 17 out of 25. Really good player. Just the best way to put it. Really, really, really good player for the Water Dogs. And this one also came back a 10. So 4 for 4 for the Lacrosse cards. These ones didn't have as much of a foil. Different one. That this isn't the first edition one. This is the Champ Series one. It's a different set. So didn't have the foil for this one, but really happy to do that. So overall, did really well. I think it's like a 67% gem rate overall through my whole thing. So I'm pretty happy. I had another submission not long ago, and I didn't go through a whole lot of stuff. Wasn't as diligent as I should have been, and I didn't even put up the video. I didn't even record it. It was bad. It was a lot of, to be fair, it was a lot of older young guns, so those are kind of hit or miss. But it was I had some bad grades. It was just not good stuff. I don't really know how they gave me certain grades and stuff. So I didn't even bother putting that one up. But like I said, this one I'm pretty happy with. I know the boys are pretty happy with all theirs. Like I said, the more 10s you get, kind of helps get you back in the groove of stuff. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is already sold. Once again, by the time this goes up, probably more. If you guys see anything on my eBay, if you guys want to go check out the link below, you guys can always send me a message on Instagram. Say, hey, look, I'm looking at the Vasilevsky. I'm looking at the Crosby. I'm looking at whatever it is. You guys can send me a message, and we can probably figure out a deal also. Same time, I'm not going to give you a card for, 70% of comps when it's a liquid thing. I'm just being honest here. Some people try to get stuff for really, really cheap on super liquid cards. So that's good. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, follow me on all those things. And for Eric from the bench, talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.